So today's video will be in English because who asked this question, she's my wife and she doesn't understand Punjabi, so I'll try my best to explain. So her question is, when and how ego comes in the way of peaceful world? To understand these questions, we have to understand what ego is first. So the ego is the identification of self to a thing like this body. If I am identify myself with this body and create a separation between me and the world is ego. So basically ego is the separation of yourself from the whole. That's ego. Example, if I am this and the other person is that, there is a separation, this and that. So that separation is called ego. And how and when it comes in a peaceful world? The world outside cannot be peaceful. This is first thing we have to understand, because the outside world has its own flaw, because so many peoples are living in it. So where there are anything, there must be a clash, because thoughts operate in that realm. So but there is a saying in a Hindu spiritualism, that is like, however your side is, the world is same. It's not the world is going to be same. The world is same. However your sight is, whatever your sight is, however you seeing the world is like that. So to only make a peace in this world is to make a peace within. And how we can make a peace within is to question what is ego. That's the only way to make a peace, because if something is real, then there is no question arise like this. The ego question doesn't arise like this. But if there is a word ego, it came from something. So we have to identify that. Is that ego, is it real or it's just a illusion of ourselves? Because the whole society builds the thought in our mind, because from a day to night our all thoughts is regarding to ourselves, to me. And if we question who is me, that's a thing, that's a first step to go through, to question the ego. So when we question the ego, we have to be just sit with ourselves and ask, like, who am I? Like, am I what I think I am, or am I something which I don't even know? Because if we think like we are a wave in an ocean, then there is always be a problem and separation, because this we are working like that. That's why there is no peace, because we are create a separation. If I am this and this is that, there will always be a problem, because the thing is, I have different thoughts and other have different thoughts. So if there is a difference, there will be a clash. It can only be understood by understanding of thyself. So once a wave realize it's not a wave. Wave is just for a namesake. It's a water. Now it can be everywhere, because water is everywhere. Wave has its own existence in a time and space, but water is everywhere. It's the same of with the ego. If we identify ourselves as ego, we will always be a limited being. We will always be a being who just live like a tiny life, because we separate ourselves from a life. That's why we are just living a tiny. But once we question the ego, what is ego? Who am I? Then once you reach there, you will realize you are not just this body, you're not just this mind, you're not just this thought. There is something beyond these all that exists, which is not here and there, which is not in the realm of time and space, which is everywhere. Once you realize that this is like, this cannot be questioned, once you reach at the reality, then only there is a way to make a peace in this world. Because then what happened, I'll tell you. Then happen is, you cannot see separation. When separation dissolves, then only there is a way to make a peace in this world. Then only a way to make a peace, and you can be peaceful with the world. Because once that separation dissolves, like if now this is me, then there is always be a clash outside, because then there is always be other. But if there is no other, if there is no other than me, then there is no chance of clash. There is no chance of desire, because desire comes from something. But if that something is also me, then there is no chance of desire. Then there is no thoughts in our mind. It's not like you are going to be thoughtless. You are going to be wise enough to know that whatever you are going through, whatever you are thinking, that is not separate from you. That is you. So that only can go when we have a peace. We can only make a peace when we identify ourselves and we understand ourselves, and we can see that there is no separation between me and the universe. Because whatever is outside, it's possible because of me. To illumine this world, we need this body. But to illumine ourselves, we don't need anything. We are the source of the illumination. And this is not just a pep talk. I'm not just saying for a namesake. This is something reality that has to be experienced. It can only be experienced through this body. It cannot be possible without anything. So that is the only purpose of life, to experience ourselves. Because that is the only way we can see the lie of ego, and we can see the reality of this universe and ourselves. Then only we can make a peace. Then this is the only way, and that time it happens to make a peace with this world. I hope it clears a little bit. Thank you for asking this question.